because I know you wanted to weigh in on one. A week ago, we were talking about UFC, the big deal that Dana White signed with Paramount Plus, and the 7-year, $7.7 billion deal. And there just so happened to be a big UFC event, 319 this past weekend, that I know you were fired up about.
Super fired up. Yeah, I was super fired up because this guy, Khamzat Chimaev, and I know his name it's a tough one to say, but it's been on
that's why I let you say it.
But well, it's a tough one to say, but it's been on the tip of everybody's tongue the last week, right? So if you remember Khamzat Chimaev during the COVID pandemic, the UFC was forced to be on a place called Fight Island. They were the first people to come back and deliver live sports again. And this maniac came on the scene, and he fought about 3 times in like a month and a half, and he was just steamrolling guys. So everyone was saying Khamzat is going to be the future. Khamzat is the present, blah, blah, blah. So take it back now, we're 3, 4, 5 years later, and Khamzat's career, I wouldn't say derailed, but he's dealt with so many different injuries and sicknesses and blah, blah, blah. But this was finally his chance, and he had a world championship fight against Dricus du Plessis, who was like a South African champion who hadn't really run into a ton of adversity in his time. He's been rolling through people. He's in his prime, and everyone was real excited to see how the fight went. And if you saw the fight, Danny, I'm talking like as lopsided a main event as you could ever imagine. I mean, I guess other than Conor and 13 seconds with Aldo, where it really wasn't much of a fight, this was, I mean, a massacre. It was a murder scene, man. It was terrible to see. And I just couldn't believe the dominance. And it got me to thinking, like, Khamzat Chimaev continues that legacy. Everybody knows Khabib now, right? Everybody's starting to learn about Islam, and Islam is one of Khabib's proteges, right? And I wanted to talk to you about, like, that part of the world and just how dominant they are at this wrestling and ground and grappling component, and how it's just led so many of them in such a small area to be world champions. And it got me to thinking about their training versus our training. Now, what we call training, and if you hear these guys talk, it's like Daniel Cormier, who's a UFC, he's royalty. He coaches at Gilroy High School, right? And he's really cool with Khabib and Islam from their time at AKA. It's their training camp. And Islam's got this really funny clip where he's like, drop your kids off in Dagestan, give them 2 or 3 years, and come back. DC's like, what are you talking about, bro? What planet are you on? But like, he dropped his kids in there for like 3 months over a summer or something, and they came back. In Dagestan. And when I say his kids, I mean his team.
Right.
And they came back like, Coach, we practice here. They train there. I mean, it's 3 times a day. It's the diet. It's the wiping the mats down. It's the sleep regimen. It's the lifting. It's everything, man. And it just got me to thinking, like, how different our training is and how our athletes might get dropped. It's the same with European soccer, right? Or South American soccer. We drop them in there. It's just completely different. You know what I mean? The kids, and it brings us back to the same thing. How do the kids these days handle uncomfortability versus how they do it elsewhere, you know?
Do you think they have Snapchat in Dagestan? Do you think they have TikTok? Do you think they have, so I'm embarrassed to admit this. My daughter, who's 12, she just turned 13.
Okay.
She was at volleyball camp.
Gotcha.
I got a text at 11 o'clock. It said, Dad, can you Uber Eats me some raw juice, like an acai bowl?
Okay.
And I was like,
oh, don't do it, Dad.
She's 12. I said, there is no chance. I'm like, stop asking. I'm like, you are not getting that. Mom packed her like a little sandwich.
Okay.
But the mindset to even ask that, I think is a big problem. And I'm already like, that was a red flag for me. I'm like, we got to nip this in the bud, like quicker, like sooner rather than later. So I had a little talk with her. Like, do you understand how expensive that is? How like, privileged that is to have that type of service? Like, what are we thinking, really? And she actually works really hard, but I do think there are so many luxuries in the United States that we take advantage, or we take for granted. And in Dagestan, they're just probably thrilled to get to train 3 times a day, because it's you probably get treated really good as an athlete there, and it's a way out potentially and a way to a better life. Where here, I think there's a lot, like, you know, you can be an influencer, or you can like, it's a lot easier to be lazy in the US than it is anywhere in the world. We have so many luxuries.
Well, first thing, I thought when you said You're talking about. I thought you were going to tell me you didn't know what Uber Eats was first, because you almost prefaced
I knew what it was.
Like, oh, come on.
And that's what concerned me.
And that's what, I mean, that goes back to what like Patrick and them were talking about on the pod. Like, what is a good age for this technology? What is a good age to give these kids access to something that's going to potentially take their attention away from this or take their focus away from that? And it's 100%, man. I went out to dinner this weekend, and you see families of kids with iPads and iPhones, and yeah, man, it's like a joy. Like I really do think I grew up in the best generation, man, because I got a little bit of the beginning of social media and Facebook and IG and all that, but I still got that work ethic where like nothing can replace getting up early, being the first one here, working my butt off. And you're 100% right. Man, we are so absurdly privileged, we don't even realize it. And it isn't until you go somewhere else. And a lot of times you see that with the guys who come over here from elsewhere. Again, I talk about it a lot because it was a big part of my journey was IMG academies. And you see kids who they'd bring over from like India who didn't have shoes that fit. And we would give them our cleats like after the first couple of weeks. And to us, it was nothing. We just asked for a new pair of cleats. And these kids made it like it was just the greatest thing they'd ever seen. And yes, we are so incredibly privileged here that we don't even realize it. And that goes because you don't know it until you live it. Like I grew up with very little, and I didn't realize what was out there until I got to spend time around people with more. And it's, that's what it is. You don't realize it until you're, exposed to it.
No, you don't at all. I want to say something, but it's so outlandish and so over the top that it's just almost to make a point.
Cover your ears, guys. Go ahead.
I think you'd be better off having your kids smoke cigarettes than give them a cell phone. or like having them like it is so addicting.
It is.
And I do think, much like we found out much later, the damage that tobacco was doing, we are just on the tip of the iceberg of finding out how much damage we're doing to our youth. And we're trying. So again, I've got an 18, I've got a 16, I've got a 13-year-old, all girls. And my 8, we thought we waited as long, like we were the last ones. We heard that a zillion. I'm the only one without a phone. And so we eventually, like when they were 14, which was pretty late, we gave them the phone. But I
think that's a great age, by the way.
I would say 16 is safer.
Is it
like
possible,
with my 13-year-old, I'm going to make it
possible?
possible.
Well,
I don't care. Because that's the problem, is that a lot of people push back with that. And it is hard because they need a phone to get to practice.
Yes.
What time is my practice? In the group chat, or what uniforms are wearing?
That's the thing. You think about, are you hindering your 14-year-old social component? You know what I mean? It's a crazy
Who
thing.
cares?
Things that you
I'll
have to
sacrifice the social component. I don't care if they're a nerd. They'll be more healthy and mentally balanced.
We were talking about it the other day. I'm expecting my first.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't think a phone's going to be the thing. I think it's going to end up being like one of those watches where you could just like press call dad, and that's going to be about it.
Yeah.
For like what
they have
you're
those,
allowed.
by the way, which I know.
I've done research
recommend.
already. Trust
Yes.
me. Yeah. But I guess, it's a matter of which addiction is the worst, right? Is it the nicotine and the carcinogens, or is it this zombie making tablet and social media, man? And I think a lot of times you see on social media, like, what's the one thing you can eliminate from the world and make it better instantly? And my instant snap judgment is always not tech, but social media.
Yeah.
As great as it is that it connects the world, I do think it's a massive hindrance to like people growing and speaking. And dude, just the ability to converse with people has been just hindered so much amongst people.
Have you ever given up social media or your cell phone for an extended period of time?
I was really late to the game. So like for the beginning of I didn't touch social media until I got to playing. Like when I was playing, like I was nobody at that level. But my agent would tell me, Chris, you got to grow your profile a little bit. So I started a Twitter when I was 23.
Right.
That was the first. I never had Facebook in college. But it was just, it's one of those things, like if I never had it, it didn't bother me to lose it.
Right.
But no, and now
because I'm addicted now. Like I'm saying all this and saying how critical it is for my kids.
But
I'm
your job
addicted to it.
almost forces you to it, right?
That's the issue. Because my wife, I've talked to her about it. I wanted to go to a flip phone for like a couple months just to get rid of it out of my hand constantly. You see it when you're on an elevator. People don't know what to do, so they look at their phone.
Right.
Anytime you're in line at a restaurant, people look at their phone. You don't like have any interaction, and it drives me nuts. And yet I haven't stepped up and done it.
And bro, it's even to driving. Like it's incredible. If you stopped and looked into 50 cars, I'm not joking, 35 of them, people are on their phones nowadays. It's so crazy. And I get yelled at it all the time because I'm talking a lot right now, but I'm the same.
It is
But
scary.
it could be anything from the phone's buzzing with a text or my GPS. So I got to do better myself. But yeah, dude, it's absolutely a thing. It is getting crazy out there.